LeBron James gonna get biggie with those Memphis ribbies. Hey guys, welcome back to 48 Minutes or Less NBA podcast. It's George, and joining me today, like always, is gonna be Lewis and Sawyer. And sorry that we couldn't release an episode last week. We had some scheduling issues with the holidays, and Sawyer started a new job, so it was a little difficult. But to treat you guys, we're gonna give you two podcasts this week. This one and then one later that we're probably going to release on Friday. And then this one's going to come out a day before the New Year's, almost like a late Christmas present, early New Year's present. I hope you guys had a good holiday. How were you guys this holiday, by the way?
All right. I just had to visit family and stuff. Just Christmas. It's a pain in my ass.
Yeah, had a lot of family stuff going on and a lot of traveling, but it was nice. It was nice. Didn't get a chance to watch any basketball, unfortunately. I really wish I did.
You didn't watch any of the Christmas games?
No, I didn't. I was going to, but my dad was in town, so.
Your dad doesn't like the NBA?
Well, it was just, like, catching up with him and stuff, so it was like, we were catching up, and then we got food, and then he left. And then we hung out with Maddie's friends, with her and all that, so.
Who's Maddie?
I saw the Toronto game, I saw the Philly game, and then I saw in high definition, I was pretty upset, the Lakers game, and the Lakers-Clippers game. I didn't see the Pelicans-Denver game, and I didn't see the Houston Warriors game, and I kind of feel like the Houston Warriors game and the Pelicans and Denver game were probably better than the Philly and the Toronto game.
They were. They both had unexpected results, too. The Warriors and Pelicans won.
Yeah, I saw Boston and shit.
Toronto.
Thank you, I blanked. I saw Boston and Toronto. I saw parts of that, and then I saw about like a quarter of the Bucks-Philly game. But by that point, it was kind of already over when I started watching it.
Yeah, I don't really count the Toronto game in a way, though, because, Siakam was injured, so
yeah. I mainly wanted to see it because it was the first time hosting a Christmas Day game and stuff. So I wanted to see that game.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Even though Siakam was injured, and it was really nice to see Jaylen Brown be a beast in that game. It was pretty nice. And then the Philly game and Bucks game was kind of like, it was sort of what I predicted was going to happen. If Joel Embiid can play the way he did, and they can defend the way they did, it's going to be a really tough matchup for Giannis.
Well, yeah, he needs. If Joel Embiid played that way, in the 7-game series, if he could pull that off 4 or 5 times, I would say actually 5 or 6 times in the series, almost the whole series, they would win.
I actually texted this during the Boston game. Unpopular opinion, but Jason Tatum might be the most overhyped player in the NBA. People argue who is better, him or Brown, but I don't even think it's close. And then Brown put up, I think he was 10 for 13 that night, and in the next game after he put up 34 points as well.
Yeah, but Jason Tatum had the career high 39-point game prior to that one, and then the other night I think he put up 35. And I think Jaylen Brown's better, but you also got to think that Jaylen Brown's been in the league 1 year longer. And the question about
he's a better defender too.
Yeah. Oh,
he's a better defender, more efficient scorer.
That being said, I think Boston should try to give these guys as much money as possible, and that's because of just they're both wing size players that can guard multiple positions, that can shoot threes. That's probably the most valuable position in the NBA. So,
and they also have good chemistry.
Yeah, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, we're not.
Hey, it worked.
Today we're gonna talk about trades. With the December 15th deadline passing, and so most players are available unless they just re-signed with bird rights or something, then they'll be available after January 15th. So with that deadline passing, and so far we've already had one trade, a really small trade, Jordan Clarkson for Dante Exum. But we want to talk about possible trades that might be coming for the trade deadlines and possible moves that we think we could potentially see as we get closer to that deadline. Who wants to start us off?
So I was thinking the first guy, since there were talks that with the Pelicans that they have him open for trade, would be Jrue Holiday. It's kind of and he's a pretty big name, pretty marquee name that could make a big difference to a team come this playoff season. So what I did was I kind of ran through the trade machine at different possible options of most. I think the three teams that most people are saying Jrue Holiday would be a good fit for would be either Miami, Minnesota, or Milwaukee. So the first trade that I came up with was that the Pelicans would give Jrue Holiday to Miami for Goran Dragic, Justice Winslow, and then a 2022 second round pick, and then their 2025 first round pick. The problem with like trading for Miami is that Miami just doesn't have that many picks currently, and I just don't know if like say like Justice Winslow would be enough to entice the Pelicans to trade away Jrue Holiday. Giving Goran would be for matching salaries, and Goran's on an expiring contract as well. So I guess the question is like, do you guys like, should Miami trade for Jrue? Drew's like the type of player that would work in Miami because he's like a hard worker. He's a dog. He can guard multiple positions. That would be a lethal defensive team. I just don't know if Miami wants to kind of ruin the chemistry that it's created so far with including Jimmy Butler and then having these young guys step up in Duncan Robinson and Kendrick Nunn and Tyler Hero. I'm not sure if they want to kind of ruin that. And is Justice Winslow enough, or would they have to include a guy like say Duncan Robinson for the Pelicans to kind of want to do that trade to begin with?
I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense for Miami just because, like, if that was the deal right there, it would probably, I think it'd be a win for Miami for sure. And honestly, it would actually suck for the Pelicans, to be honest. But if Jrue Holiday, besides Miami having to give up somebody like Tyler Hero or Kendrick Nunn or Bam. Like, actually, you know what? Like, you could probably throw in like somebody like Kelly Olynyk in there, and that might entice the Pelicans a little bit more. But I feel like they could they could probably get rid of him and not like lose a lot. Miami would. The only thing I would say is that you would have to take into account is Jrue Holiday's contract going forward. He still has one more year left before he has a player option. In 2021-2022 for the 2021-22 season. And around that time is when Bam's contract will also potentially be they'll be about the same year. So the player option year for Jrue Holiday would be when Bam would ideally, I guess, in a way, hit free agency in a way. So I'd be curious to see how that works out. But that's just something you have to think about too. It's not like, Dragic's salary will be gone after this year. Miami should definitely trade him this year because you're better off getting something for him right now, especially if he's not part of your long-term plans. And I mean, it's not like he's a bad player. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what can Miami get rid of him, but get somebody back even more valuable. But Jrue Holiday's salary might like hurt that some.
I don't believe so because Miami has shown time and time again that what Pat Riley does, Mickey Arison, he just pays up. He doesn't care about paying the luxury tax or paying the repeater tax. So I don't think money is really a concern for the Miami Heat.
Yeah, you also got to take, like, Miami's going to have Dion Waiters coming off the books by that time. It'll have James Johnson coming off the books by that time. Kelly Olynyk would be off the books. So all those bad contracts that they signed in 2016, 2017 will be coming off the books by the time that Bam would be up for an extension. Or I guess would be at the end of his contract.
I would say that taking on that Jimmy Butler contract means that they're ready to win now, in a sense. And so they're not scared about spending the money now. I think they did that with Jrue Holiday. If anything, the trade with Miami wouldn't make sense for the Pelicans. I don't think they get enough back. I don't think they get enough value for Jrue Holiday. And even with the Pelicans and all the trades and them talking about trading Jrue Holiday, it's almost a little weird to me because they still haven't seen Jrue with Zion and they still haven't figured out if they're if they get Zion and Zion's like, oh, I'm a rookie, I'm actually not that good, then they're like, okay, we need to rebuild. But if he's good, then why even trade Jrue Holiday?
The Pelicans, I don't think are like in a hurry to trade Jrue. Like I think they just kind of wanted to see what offers teams would give because Jrue still has 2 more years on his contract after this year. It's not like they can always wait to see what he looks like with Zion and then trade him. And I think
the biggest year is really next year.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
next year after that point, you're kind of like you need to like trade him or keep him. Like, what are you gonna do?
And I think David Griffin's a better general manager than to just like, yeah, they've been losing a lot of games, but I don't think he's the type to overreact. I think he knows that it takes time, and they haven't really been at full strength in order to see what that team would look like as a whole. So the other option that a lot of people were talking about was Minnesota, since Minnesota has been looking for that point guard to pair alongside Karl Anthony Towns for a while. So in order of matching salaries, the best I could do would be Gorgie Dang and then Jeff Teague for Drew Holiday, and then Minnesota would also give up this year's first round pick and then a 2021 second and a 2022 second. I guess it would work for the Pelicans because they would clear a lot of cap space since both Teague and Diang are expiring, and then also
You mean for the Timberwolves?
for the Timberwolves would be taking Drew Holiday's contract.
Oh, Dang isn't expiring.
Dang still has one more year after this.
Yeah, another year, like 18 million.
Jesus Christ, the Timberwolves suck.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Well, I guess the main thing would be the Pelicans would get the first round pick from Minnesota for this year. My thing is, I just don't know how much the value of a first round pick is for the Pelicans when they already have so many first round picks in the next couple of years. I'm not sure if maybe they want an already more established young player instead of just a first round pick.
That's like the only of all the trade possibilities. The Miami one seems the best to me because if they could get like Justice Winslow, maybe get another young guy from Miami, because would they rather have picks or would they rather have like players that like could like are successful NBA players? They might not be superstars,
they
but
deserve to be on an NBA team.
exactly
Yeah.
right, and because you can have too much of a good thing with too many first round picks.
And honestly, having a first round pick for Miami in 2025, like maybe that'd be better having it later on.
Yeah, because
thinking more towards the future.
Pretty bad by then.
Think about the
Miami's never that
76ers. Like the 76ers were like stockpiling for like the way future, and everything finally came to fruition.
I guess the other thing with the 2025 is like if say you're New Orleans, you're thinking in 2025 Zion's going to be in his peak, so you can always move that Miami pick for a player, because at that point you might want to think about being a contender, right? So maybe there's more value in a later pick for them. And I just feel like maybe New Orleans might already have like their core of Zion and Ingram if they can actually play well together, and then the rest is just building around those two guys and finding the right role players and the right pieces.
So for the last Pelicans like Drew Holiday trade we were looking at was like the Pels give up Drew Holiday to the Bucks for Eric Bledsoe, Ilyasova, and then Indiana's first 2020 that they got from the Brogdon trade, and then a 2020 first, and then another first. The trade machine wouldn't let me do like 2022 for some reason, so just another first from the Bucks. I would say probably the later, the better. The problem with that again is what we were talking about with the Minnesota trade, where it's like where's the value in the Pels with all those picks, and then they have Eric Bledsoe. They have to, I think it's another 3 years on his contract.
Yeah, is that who they want? Like, would they rather have Eric Bledsoe over Drew Holiday? Like, do the picks make up for it?
I feel like a lot of times with trades, we're looking at like, oh, here's a good team. What piece do they need to get better? But then they don't consider like, oh, the bad team. Why would they do that trade? Like, what do they benefit from it?
I mean, the whole problem with the Drew Holiday trade comes down to the fact that we assume, well, and we know that like whatever team gets him, the Pelicans are going to get quite a bit for him, especially if they trade him this year, because he has possibly at least 1, maybe 2 more years on his deal before he leaves. Like probably 1 more year if he doesn't like the place, but if he does, you're looking at 2 years, right? But it's so hard to predict because you're like a lot of these other trades are like people on expiring deals this year. So you're like, okay, like you're not going to expect to get so much for it, but somebody like Drew Holiday, he's a good offensive player, good defensive player, can play point guard, shooting guard, even small forward in some instances. Like it doesn't happen as often as you might think, for a player like his caliber, I guess. I mean, maybe lately there has been a lot of players like that, but still.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, and we go back to the whole, like, with Zion not playing. Because if Zion was playing and they were really, really bad, then they're just like, oh, we're going to become a buyer destination, so we don't care about, like, how big your contract is. Let's just take on contracts. But because they don't know that yet, even when making a trade for Drew Holiday or J.J. Redick or Derek Favors, who they said J.J. isn't on the market, but, I mean, if the trade, they always say that, but if an offer comes that's pretty sweet, and there's a bunch of teams that would like J.J., Philadelphia being one of them.
Honestly, now that I think about it, wouldn't, like, a trade with the Nets be interesting for, like, Spencer Dinwiddie?
I don't think they would want to put Drew and Kyrie together.
Maybe not. I don't know. Because I think Drew Holiday could play pretty well next to another point guard, as opposed, like, he's shown that with Rondo and stuff.
And I mean, the Pels would probably have to take DeAndre Jordan in that contract, but then that would create issues because Kyrie's. So the problem with trading Spencer Dinwiddie is that Kyrie Irving signed in Brooklyn because of Spencer Dinwiddie, and then Kevin Durant signed in Brooklyn because of Kyrie Irving, and then they signed there with the problems of DeAndre Jordan being there. So, in a sense, when we talk about trading Spencer Dinwiddie, there's so much more that goes into it than just the salaries work. It's just like chemistries and stuff. That's why like people have been talking about like DeMarcus Cousins being part of a trade, but he's a big part of the chemistry of the Lakers right now. So it's like, is it worth risking trading DeMarcus Cousins to ruin the chemistry?
It's just DeMarcus Cousins is the only one of the few salary fillers you can fill in if you want to try to trade Kyle Kuzma, who's been awful, just awful.
Well, you didn't see him that Christmas Day game, bro.
Awful.
I mean, I was just kind of throwing that out there because I was just thinking about like where could Drew Holiday maybe possibly go to like a really good contending team that we haven't really thought of, and I was like, what about the Nets and Spencer Dinwiddie and stuff like that. I was like, that pairing may work. Like you in theory, it sounds like it could work.
I think the issue is like most top contending teams already kind of have like a top tier point guard. I guess maybe Philly, but Philly's got like a lot of salary.
Well, that's why I say like Drew Holiday has shown that he doesn't need to be a point guard. He could be he could play shooting guard. He doesn't need to be the primary ball handler.
Yeah, I know he can play off ball. It's just
I think that's probably the most intriguing thing about him is that like he's pretty much a point guard, but the fact that you could play him next to another point guard, and that it could work, even increases his value even more.
If San Antonio wasn't so bad, I would say San Antonio because he's kind of like the mold of a San Antonio player.
Yeah.
But it's just like which teams have my issue with the Drew Holiday trades, just to finish it off, is that I just don't know what teams can offer the Pelicans that makes sense for them right now, so they know more about the whole Zion thing and how they kind of play together.
And we don't know what they think. We don't know how they value like certain players of theirs, like how they view them. Like maybe they view like Drew Holiday as like maybe a cornerstone of their team, and they really like wouldn't give him up for like unless it was like a really good deal. Just because you'd feel bad for him.
I think Drew Holiday will be traded. I don't think it's gonna be this year. Like I could say like 80% sure he's gonna be traded, because once you come out and say like, oh, we're listening to trades for a player, that just creates chemistry issues. With like Drew Holiday's already feeling on one, and I think he himself doesn't want to be there anymore. He just hasn't said it public. He's a quiet guy, but I think they're gonna trade him. It's just a matter of do they want to trade him now when they could just wait? Like his values, I don't think he's gonna be less next year if they trade him next year in the offseason. So it's just like what benefit do they have? So I think unless they get an offer that just blows them over, I just don't see him moving.
But yeah, I agree. But I guess we should probably move on and talk about players that will probably either get traded or bought out, something like that. Top of that list is probably going to be Andre Iguodala, Iggy. Like any contending team, 100% wants him. Like I don't think there's a contending team out there that would be like, no, I don't want Andre Iguodala. Like, honestly, who would say that? But
a contending team doesn't want Andre Iguodala. Hold up.
You have to think about it for a second.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Maybe the Sixers probably don't want him.
Really? Are you telling me they wouldn't want him off the bench? That'd be
No,
like Warriors-esque talent coming off your coming off the bench.
Wait, so it depends on what like you're willing, because you have to give up something for him. So if I'm the Sixers,
Yeah, that's a
why
good
would I
point. They
give
don't
up
really
any
have-
assets for Iggy?
Yeah. I said or bought out. Like if he's bought out,
Well, if he's bought out,
then-
he's going to LA.
I mean, possibly. But what if he wants to go
Well,
to Philly?
Well, he already said that he wanted to play the end of his career in the West Coast. So he's already said that. So the problem is when teams are looking to trade for him, they already know that it's going to be a rental for like 2-3 months, and then he's leaving. So that's the problem with trading for Iggy. That's the only scenario where I could see him get bought out. But if I'm like Denver or if I'm like Dallas, and Memphis got to the point where they're not getting anything for if I'm the Memphis and I'm not getting anything for Iggy, and someone's like, hey, here's a 2nd-round pick, I'll take it. I'll take it because the other option is nothing.
Yep, it's buying him out, or I guess keeping him on the books.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets is actually pretty interesting trading. If they were to trade for him for like giving up Mason Plumlee and Malik Beasley, I guess like they wouldn't really. That's not really giving up a whole lot for them. They have a lot of depth, and
Iggy gives him.
I don't think the salaries match then, right?
No, with Mason Plumlee and Malik Beasley, they do match.
How much is Iggy making?
Iggy's like 17 million.
yeah,
Wow,
he's making
okay,
a
I thought
lot.
he was
Yeah,
like- I thought he was like eight.
that's been the whole issue. That's why it's like that's honestly why he hasn't been traded yet in a way. Well, not just that, but they had to wait till December 15th. But I mean, like, I think if there's a team that would be willing to give up players, it would probably be the Nuggets, unless like the Clippers and Lakers really felt like the Nuggets, like they know that the Nuggets are definitely going to try to get them, and then they're going to throw something at Memphis in order to try to get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so the thing is for me, like, I actually think like the Nuggets, or if I think the two destinations that would most likely trade for him are the Nuggets or the Mavericks, but I don't think the Mavericks are going to trade for him because they know he's just going to leave, and I don't know if necessarily they think they have a real shot. So I don't think they're like gunning for a championship right now, in a sense. Well, I think that Denver is, and I think Denver will probably be the team that ends up trading for him.
Yeah, like I just think that if it's not Denver, like I don't see any other team possibly being able to trade for him.
The only other one would be the Clippers, and I think the Clippers would just trade for him just to keep him away from the Lakers.
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Is like if the Clippers and Lakers felt like pressure that the Nuggets were going to get him, that they would probably throw something at Memphis. Otherwise, like they're probably comfortable waiting this out in a way because they feel like they could probably he's probably going to get bought out or something, and they'll be able to pick him up.
I actually think what's going to happen is that I'm pretty sure that Iggy, if he gets bought out, is going to go to the Lakers. But then again, so everyone always says they're going to go to the Lakers, and then they end up going to the Clippers. But I actually feel like he's going to go to the Lakers. So I think Memphis is going to tell people they're going to buy out Iggy. Then they're going to call the Clippers and be like, hey, if you buy him out, he's going to go to the Lakers. Give us your 2021st.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to give him the first.
Like, honestly, if I'm Memphis, you try to get that 2021st without a doubt.
But I think that's if Denver doesn't offer Beasley. I think if Denver offers Beasley or maybe even Juancho, then they'll end up trading with them. By the way, on a side note, I actually want to have a pod where we just talk about how great the future of Memphis is looking right now. Because I'm all for that team, bro. Like, JJJ's 3-point shot is doing it for me, son.
No, that team. I wish he could foul less. That's my only issue with him. Like, he has so much defensive capability, but he just fouls too much.
Yeah, but he's still young.
Yeah, but like if it's like his third year and he keeps at this rate, it could be a worry for what he has, what his defensive potential could be moving forward. Because players are supposed to be lowering their foul rates, and he is actually not. And he's actually been worse defensively this year than his rookie year.
So, I would say if the Nuggets end up not getting Iguodala, then I really do believe that Rudy Gay would probably be next on the radar for sure.
Yeah, that's who I actually have him down. Like, I think people talk about
I
the
really
Spurs,
think that's
they talk a lot
idea.
about DeMar. When people talk about the Spurs, they talk a lot about DeMar DeRozan, and LaMarcus Aldridge, but I think Rudy Gay is probably the best trade piece they have because
Yeah,
he's a
he's just
small
a solid
forward
player.
that's a solid defender that can get you points off the bench and is good in playoff minutes. And I just think there's a lot of teams. The Clippers could go for him. The one I listed here was they give up Rudy Gay to the Nuggets for Michael Porter and Mason Plumlee. The salaries work, and then you have a Michael Porter, who's a power forward. Because the problem with the Spurs is a lot of young players that I would say could possibly be traded from these contending teams are guards, and so they kind of already have 3 guards that they're working with. So you're looking for a bigger guy, and Michael Porter's power forward. He could shoot well. And I think the Spurs system could actually make him really blossom.
And if anybody could resurrect his career, it's Popovich.
It's weird because for me, his career isn't doomed because he's bad. His career's having a downturn because he's solid in the minutes he gets.
Yeah, but it's because he's buried on the depth chart. Like the Nuggets are just too good, like depth wise. It's ridiculous.
And they're like a contending team that's not going to give those minutes to a rookie. It's kind of hard to... I would keep forgetting that he's a rookie.
Yeah, it's sad though because if he was actually getting minutes, he'd probably be like in the Rookie of the Year conversation. Because I mean, he does well in the minutes he does play.
I actually think that let's go talk about Iguodala again. Forget Malik Beasley. Like, what about Michael Porter to Memphis? That would just be...
Well, because they already have Brandon Clark and Jaren Jackson Jr. in their front court.
Yeah, but Michael Porter is a small forward.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think
they're not really set
the thing
there.
Is, but the thing is, so Michael Porter's actually like God, what's the word? He runs offenses. Like he likes to have the ball. And
he's a lead ball.
He's a ball handler.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Malik Beasley would actually make more sense because Malik Beasley just needs to like stand in the corner and shoot threes.
That's a good point.
And so you already have a rim running point guard. I mean, he can stretch the floor too, but like so then what you want to do is
rim running point guard. Is that the right?
Rim running point guard.
Is that the right?
Yeah, he runs to the. I mean, you see his dunks. He runs to the rim.
You have an athletic, you have an athletic point guard that already drives toward the basket and kind of needs that space. And I don't know I think Malik Beasley has a better fit than what Michael Porter Jr. can offer you. And Michael Porter hasn't really proven it yet as a shooter in his limited time. Where I think Malik Beasley has shown more capabilities of playing off ball and scoring.
The only problem with getting Malik Beasley is that they have to match whatever salary he might get in the offseason.
Yeah,
but they'll have plenty of cap space.
They have plenty of cap space. I don't think they're worried about that.
Yeah, I know, but then like you're like, oh, do I really want to sign this player? Like, what if he gets a max? I mean, if he gets a max,
I will say
go.
this though for Memphis though, they've done a good job on being able to rebuild and not having to take back really bad contracts and getting rid of a lot of their big contracts without letting them just go in free agency. You know what I mean? And they've gotten solid stuff back for them. Like, it haven't been bad value. So I think they deserve some credit for that.
Do you guys see, since we were talking about Rudy Gay, do you guys see any trade possibilities for like DeMar DeRozan or
I don't think LaMarcus Aldridge, but DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan I definitely see, and I like you have here, I mean, the Magic just makes so much sense, honestly. They make a lot of sense for DeMar DeRozan.
Because what DeMar DeRozan does well, which is raising the floor of your offense, is kind of what the Magic need, since they don't have any offense. And it makes sense. And I just don't think Aaron Gordon is with Jonathan Isaac and stuff. I just don't know if he's playing in the right position. If he's developing the way that he should. I think the Magic, in a way, might be holding him back because they just have too many forwards. And it gives him a chance to develop in the Spurs system, and then it also gives the Magic the chance to kind of, I guess, solidify themselves as a playoff team every year. Maybe not a top contender, but at least a 6th, 7th seed every year. And
is that what they want, though?
I think that's what they want. It's the Magic we're talking about.
I mean, I would say go for it. They need, like, building that kind of culture where you're like that team that you're not perennial
playoff team.
Well, no, perennial like bottom of the league kind of thing, where they were for a long time. They would just be like, okay, like this guy is good, yeah, but like, maybe we should just like trade him and like try again. No, they're like, let's like keep what we have. Let's work through our problems. Let's like work it out. Like that's the only reason I see them maybe not making a trade. But I just feel like DeMar DeRozan would be too hard to pass on.
So another, I guess, moving on to the Cavs, because this player has already been talks. The Cavs have been looking to trade Kevin Love.
I feel like it's been like 2 years now that he's been like in talks. They've been like in talks.
So I don't think that you can trade a Cavs player individually. I think you have to trade them as a team. So I was thinking, so I went to the trade finder real quick, and I actually did not put the Cavs independently. So what I did was I took Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, I took Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, so pretty much the entire team, and I traded them for a bag of chips. But not just any chips, a bag of kettle-cooked barbecue chips.
I really don't get the joke.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Whatever.
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were very confused when after LeBron left, Kevin Love ended up getting this huge extension. But I was always baffled with the Cavaliers being like, yeah, let's.
I was always baffled by
Kevin
your
Love.
inability to understand my jokes.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't just me, George too. But I mean, I think that at this point, like it makes too much sense because like you might as well trade Kevin Love before he gets injured again, because it's going to happen. The fact he hasn't gotten injured and out for the year yet is like surprising to me so far.
The problem with trading Kevin Love is I don't think the Cavs have any like realistic expectations of Kevin Love's value out of the market.
Yeah,
That's
like you
the
really don't
problem.
know what you're gonna get for him because you're just like because of his injury history, you're just like, and his salary cap number is just ridiculous.
Yeah, because they think Kevin Love is worth like 6 first-round picks. Like,
The thing is, the Cavs want a first-round pick for Kevin Love. Teams say they will take Kevin Love, but the Cavs have to give a first-round pick. So the Cavs see Kevin Love as positive value, and every other team in the NBA sees him as a negative value contract.
yeah, I actually one of the trades I have is Cavs give Kevin Love to Portland for Hassan Whiteside, Nazir Little, and a 2024 first-round pick protected, top 30 protected.
But like, I actually think the Phoenix trade like makes actually some sense, but only in the sense that like if you're so determined to get rid of Kevin Love to finally move on for him, there are worse things you could get, I guess.
What was the Phoenix trade?
It was a Tyler Johnson, Miles Bridges, and a 2021 first round pick.
Do they have Miles or Mikal?
They have
Miles.
Mikal.
They
I
have
thought they had
Mikal.
Miles.
No, Miles is in.
Oh, Miles is in Charlotte. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's Mikal.
Yeah.
Are they brothers?
No.
No,
Are they
it's
just
just a
called Bridges?
coincidence.
Yeah, it's just a.
Did you think they watched that movie Bridges together?
No.
No.
I don't even know what
Well,
movie.
the movie sucked. The movie sucked, just like Mikal and Miles. Damn.
Well, anyways, I mean, like, he's still young, so maybe they could get something out of him. I mean, Phoenix has always shown that they're really bad at drafting for some reason.
And trading and building.
And trading and everything. Like, come on. You've had, like, one surefire, like, pick in the last 10 years.
They aren't bad at making city jerseys.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll give him that. Let's give him a round of applause. Insert applause. But, I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to trade Kevin Love. His salary number is just ridiculous. And it is like, is a team really worth, like, is there a team that's really wants him that badly? Like, that they'd be willing to give up something valuable? I don't know. I honestly just don't know. I think, like, you're right, Lewis. Like, maybe, like, Kevin Love plus somebody else. Maybe. But not just Kevin Love by himself.
So we're moving on to another trade candidate.
Yeah, for the Cavs, Tristan Thompson. So one of the teams I saw here that so I kind of instead of looking at what the Cavs wanted, I kind of looked at teams that needed like a rim protector, big men, that can get rebounds. And so the teams that I looked at were the Celtics and the Clippers. So for the Clippers, I saw that the Cavs would give them Tristan Thompson, and the Clippers would give up a Mo Harkless and then Montrezl Harrell because of the salaries. But I don't know if the Clippers would do that.
And Montrezl Harrell will be so miserable in Cleveland.
And
Oh my God.
yeah, but he's a free agent. That's kind of the reason behind it. If the Clippers don't want to trade him.
I know, but just imagine going from LA to Cleveland.
Oh my God.
That sounds so familiar.
Yeah, I know, but do you think the Clippers cared? Did you think they cared when they wanted Paul George and they sent Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to Oklahoma City?
It's better than Cleveland.
No,
it's not.
No, Oklahoma's worse than Cleveland, dude. Do you know Oklahoma's the most conservative state?
Whatever. Let's just
Oklahoma is the most conservative state in the entire union.
whatever. Let's just go and move on.
Yeah. My thing with that is
I just snowboard in Cleveland.
I just feel that Harrow is like too good to be traded for Tristan Thompson. Like you can get so much more for him if you're gonna trade him.
So the other one I saw was Harkless, Rodney Magruder, and then their first. But I don't know if Cleveland would do that.
I guess if they want the first round pick, I mean it'll be like in the 20s, but it's not like a bad trade if you don't
honestly,
think
that's the best they could get.
that's probably the
for
best
Tristan
they're gonna
Thompson.
get for Tristan Thompson. To be
Except
honest.
that,
Well-
honestly, I think I like the Celtics trade a little more.
Yeah, but
for the Celtics. For the Celtics. Not for
so
Cleveland, but for the
Celtics
Celtics.
trade
Wait,
would
really?
be the Celtics trade would be Marcus Smart, Romeo Langford, and then a 2020 second. I just don't think the Celtics are going to give up Marcus Smart, who might be the best defender that they have. I just don't think they're going to.
Yeah. No, that's my thing. But the problem with the Celtics, and when we're looking at like big men for the Celtics to look after, they have that team's really young. And when you look at them through the trade machine, you realize how young they are. They don't have a lot of players that they paid a lot. So it's kind of hard. And then we talked about like trading Gordon Hayward for a big man, but they really need Gordon Hayward as a secondary playmaker, because if they lose Gordon Hayward, then who do they have to play make? Only Kemba. So that becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's the problem with like Jaylen Brown and Tatum, is that they aren't great ball handlers and distributors.
No, they're not.
As like Gordon Hayward is.
Yeah, especially Tatum. God, I hate Tatum.
So I guess I kind of want to go over two more players real quick before we end with her. So we looked at Steven Adams and Chris Paul, but honestly, they just make too much money. And I just don't think Steven Adams might be sought after, but I don't know if anyone wants to put that contract under the belt. And he's actually having it down here. The only team I could think about would be the Mavericks, but I don't know if they want that because they need that floor spacing. So what they gain back on defense, I think they'll lose on offense, and I don't want that.
I still think he'd be great on the Celtics, but I just don't see it. They can make the math work. This is the only issue.
The only player they could do would be Gordon Hayward, but I think that you'll be losing more than what you'll be gaining.
Yeah. And then Chris Paul just makes way too much. And the only really team that you could think of would be Miami, but I don't know if Miami is willing to give up for Chris Paul.
How about Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook?
You know what? Why hasn't anybody ever thought of that before?
I mean, like, Houston has got to regret that trade. Russell Westbrook's been awful in Houston.
And honestly, if I'm Miami, I'm like, would I rather have Chris Paul or Drew Holiday?
Drew Holiday. Chris Paul's a lot
Exactly.
older and a lot more injury prone.
All right, so then the two other players I was looking at was Spencer Dinwiddie, who we kind of talked about, and then Kyle Kuzma. So Spencer Dinwiddie, like I was saying, it's kind of tricky because they don't really know where they want to go. The trade I was talking to you guys about was Spencer Dinwiddie to Philadelphia for Josh Richardson and a 2020 and OKC's 2020 first. Because I think Philadelphia would probably have to give up a first because Spencer Dinwiddie's playing better, and I think it would benefit both teams. I just don't think either team wants to trade. I don't think the Nets are in a hurry to trade Dinwiddie, and I think they'd rather wait for the offseason and then see if they could trade Caris LeVert. And then I don't think Philly wants to ruin anything like that, like remove any of their starting five. I think they want to keep their starting five intact. Even though I think having a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie would probably, in my opinion, make them the favorites for the championship.
I think, I don't know, it's like, I think that Brooklyn needs to kind of see what they have with those guys together before they kind of move Spencer. He's still under contract. They can always move him next year. I don't think they're in a hurry to move him. I think the idea behind trading Spencer is that Spencer has been so good this year that you kind of want to see what he would look like as.
Well, if you're the Nets, like if he's not part of your future, you want to capitalize on his momentum right now and get something a lot more than maybe you would like in the offseason.
But you won't know if he's part of your future yet. I just really want Spencer to sign with San Antonio. He's such a San Antonio guy.
And then for Kyle Kuzma, so I was looking because Kyle Kuzma makes so little money, right? And then how many teams that have players that the Lakers would want a young prospect like Kyle Kuzma? Because there are teams that would probably want him because he's young, like the Cavs and stuff. But the salaries don't match, and it's really hard with the Lakers' salary. So the only one I could come up with, and this is crazy, I don't think anyone's ever said this, Kyle Kuzma and DeMarcus Cousins to the Pistons for Derrick Rose.
Are we getting the band back together?
We're getting Derrick Rose and LeBron back together. And the only reason why I would want to see this is, one, I want Derrick Rose to win a championship so he can go into the Hall of Fame. And I just think Derrick Rose would be perfect for what the Lakers need.
I mean, he's a better ball handler than, because right now the only guy that can create for others outside of LeBron is Rondo, and Rose he's not as good at Rondo at doing that. He's better at, I feel like sometimes maybe decision making when it comes to offensively and what he could provide and anything so Rondo doesn't play. So if you can get Derrick Rose and that means Rondo doesn't see the court at all, I think is a plus for the Lakers. So if I was the Lakers, he's a spark plug off the bench as well, so he'll be able to get them like 18, 20 points a game on decent efficiency.
I think it's still a little early to give up on Kuzma a little bit. I think that his injury early on this season helped, like, is kind of like upset, like messed with him a little bit.
Wait, so
I still think he's a good player.
I don't think Kyle Kuzma's a bad player. I'm not giving up on him as a player. I think he's going to be a good six man and all that stuff. But he isn't fit for what the Lakers are trying to do. He's not a player. He's not a player that you can rely on in the playoffs. They need someone that they can rely on. And right now, the thing the Lakers need, and you can see it when LeBron isn't in the game, is they need another guy to come off the bench as a ball handler. And they don't have that because Rondo's not good enough, because everything he adds on offense, he just completely shatters on defense. And so they need, and Derrick Rose would be perfect for what they need. The problem with Derrick Rose is you're taking a giant shot on him staying healthy.
I don't know. I think it's worth it because it's not like Kyle Kuzma has been the epitome of health at the moment. And I think the thing is, like you said, it's too early to give up on him, but the Lakers are in a position to wait. LeBron is getting older by the minute, and they need to win now. And this might be the best chance they have.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard sometimes for some of these teams. I almost feel bad. Like, I know it's the Lakers, but like you have to feel bad for some of these teams because they trade just everything away for just that one championship, and then they are left with just nobody young. Everybody is like
dying
30 plus, and you're like,
Anthony Davis is 26.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, outside of him, like, they don't really have a lot of young people, and like it's so weird because people get so obsessed with just like winning that championship. It's not like, what with the Warriors, they were like, we have a dynasty, we were dominant for 5 years. We were like the unquestioned like kings in a way almost for 5 years.
The thing is though, young doesn't win you championships. It just doesn't. Like, youth doesn't win you championships. And at the end of the day, you could be like, oh, they had potential to be like a top young team and then grow into a championship team in 5-6 years. But they also have a chance to win now, and at the end of the day, it's about winning the championship. So like, I think they made all the right moves.
I just don't think that like Derrick Rose is like the answer for them. If you're gonna trade Kyle Kuzma for somebody, like, wouldn't you throw that in for maybe for trying to get like I guess Iggy wouldn't work because of the salaries and stuff, but
the problem is the salaries. They don't have a lot of cap space. Like they cannot, like, if Memphis Grizzlies want Andre Iguodala to be traded, the Lakers can't trade for him. That's where they're at right now because they can't match that salary.
They could match the salary. Here I have.
Well,
it.
yeah, that's
I
yeah.
have
If
it
they
here.
trade,
Yeah.
if they trade Valanciunas,
If they traded
with him.
Valanciunas and Andrew Iguodala for LeBron James. Okay, so Memphis could give Andre to the Lakers for KCP. He would have to
KCP
waive
has a no trade clause.
He would have to waive his no trade clause. Avery Bradley, and then probably like a pick or something. But why would Memphis do that?
And why would KCP
Waive his no trade clause.
waive his
Exactly.
trade clause?
Exactly. I'm just saying, like that's a possibility. I just think that LeBron for Andre and Valanciunas is a lot more likely, and that might be the trade that we will see this year.
good way to
Anyway,
end
guys.
it there. Nice way to end
Yeah.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
we're
it.
getting we're-
LeBron traded to Memphis. Hashtag put it
Dude,
up.
they're making the playoffs. They're making the playoffs.
LeBron to Memphis, boys.
They're
That's
only-
gonna be
they're only-
that's gonna
they're
be
only
the
2
title.
games
That's
back.
gonna be the title of this podcast. It's gonna be the title of this podcast is gonna be NBA trades. Let's get ready to rumble. LeBron to Memphis? Question mark! Exclamation point.
God, the way you made that sound just sounded so bad.
What?
I don't know why. Like the way you said it was just
He's
so
so
weird.
lame, dude. He's
It was so weird.
Anyways, guys, so that's a little bit about the trades that could possibly happen before the trade deadline. It seems to gonna be a pretty quiet trade season, but we'll just wait and see. So like always, just make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of our stuff. And we'll be back on Friday with